There's really only one thing you need to do to keep up with AI, and that's create and maintain documentation. Without documentation, AI will never be able to do meaningful work in your organization. And with it, it can already handle most work done on a computer better than a human. So I'm going to talk about the two types of documentation you need and how you can start creating it now very quickly. This is going to be the abbreviated version of the much longer process we go through for all of our clients at our agency. The first kind of documentation you need is a company knowledge base. If you want the AI to do any kind of meaningful work in your organization, it needs to understand everything about your organization. Collecting and structuring all that information takes a lot of time, but you don't have to do it all at once, and Claude can help. Even if you're going to be using ChatGPT or Gemini for the actual work, you want to use Claude for putting together your documentation. And that's why this is such a good use of your time right now. Once you create this, you can easily connect it to any model. I recommend using Claude Cowork, but you could also just use Claude.ai. Start by just telling it exactly what you're doing. So yeah, I need your help putting together a company knowledge base. Say this will be a comprehensive set of documents covering information on my company and my industry. The goal is to create something that I could give to AI models that would provide everything they could possibly need to work in and for my company. Tell it your job is to collect all this information and structure it in a way where it's easy and efficient to retrieve just the information you need for a given task. Then you're going to give it your website URL, any social media handles, and any other documentation or data you have about your company. Just dump everything in there. Claude is really good at handling large amounts of messy content. One pro tip, instruct Claude to separate the documents into those that contain information that can be shared publicly and those that contain internal information. If you don't do this, you will probably find AI models are sharing internal information in public-facing content. Once it's done creating the documents, ask Claude to create instructions for how to use the documents. This will just be a short description of each document and when it should be used, as well as which documents are for internal use only and which have information that can be shared publicly. Now, these documents can be hosted locally or somewhere like Google Drive or Notion. Either way, you can now easily connect these same documents to multiple different AI models by creating a project on the respective platform, putting the documents in that project, and then putting the instructions in the project instructions. But of course, that's just the first draft of your knowledge base. You're going to need to update and maintain it. And for that, you're going to need the second type of documentation. So the first type of documentation was your knowledge base. The second type is instructions, and these are going to take the form of skills. A skill is just a set of instructions that can be read by any AI model. You're going to want one of these for every task the AI will be handling for you. The first skill you should build is one to update and maintain that knowledge base. So in that same chat conversation you had to create your knowledge base, just tell Claude, I now want you to make a skill for updating and maintaining this knowledge base. Whenever I give you new information about our company or industry, you should look through all of our current documents and determine if any of them need to be updated. If the information doesn't fit in an existing document, you should create a new one. And that's all you have to do. Claude knows everything it needs to create the skill. You can then just save that to your Claude account, and you can also download it to be used on other AI models. And now whenever you do any task, whether it's drafting an email, writing a press release, brainstorming strategy, you're going to make sure you have a skill for that specific task. If you don't, just start the task by saying, we're going to do this task. And at the end, you're going to create a skill for doing that task in the future. And then the next time you do that task, you just tell Claude to use that skill. And then after you finish the task, you tell Claude, please take all the feedback I provided and everything you've learned throughout this process and update the skill to make it better for next time. And now, anytime you're using AI, which really should be every time you're doing something on a computer, you're building and improving both types of documentation. This is the way. No matter how smart and capable the models get, they will always need this documentation to work in your business. In fact, the smarter they get, the more important this documentation is going to become.